Drive Colorado's country roads and you'll find a vaccine plan that aspires to be West Virginia, because they're slinging shots in circles around our efforts. Denver tries to keep out-of-state businesses from creeping into local COVID-19 relief programs. The day of reckoning for Rockies management. Where does the buck stop for the failure to keep Nolan Arenado?
Did you consider firing him? And also, why haven't you considered firing yourself?
Coming to grips with the loss of a superstar through the eyes of generations of Rockies fans. Young lady, it is going to be fine. You all might not like the reason I think so, but it's time somebody told Rockies fans the truth. Next. Colorado's vaccinations have run on a few simultaneous tracks. Long-term care facilities were handled by a federal program through Walgreens and CVS. While the governor criticized its slow speed, parts of Colorado just bypassed the program after they saw another state find a better way. Here's Steve Staeger.
I would describe this past year as, in all honesty, traumatic.
The toll of this pandemic is immeasurable inside Colorado's long-term care facilities.
We have had to say goodbye to a lot of residents who have wound up just declining overall, physically, emotionally, and wound up needing to go to a higher level of care much sooner than they would have otherwise.
Adrienne Itzel has witnessed it all as the manager of the Haven Assisted Living Facility in Routt County. You can imagine how comforting the news of a vaccine was. The Haven was signed up with Walgreens to run its vaccine clinic.
We never really got a solid date on when they were able to come out to the Haven because they're a relatively small facility.
Roberta Smith is Routt County's public health director. In late December, Smith made a decision to take some of the county's vaccine supply and get all residents inside the county's 2 long-term care facilities vaccinated. They did it in 2 days.
If we have the resources and we know there's a need, public health's going to be that entity that really can go out and get the job done.
By the end of January, the population of both of the county's long-term care facilities had received both shots. Routt County is not alone. The state tells us other facilities and counties have opted out of the federal pharmacy program, choosing to do things on their own.
I think I cried that day that they got vaccinated.
For Itzel, it is a relief. While restrictions on people visiting are still in place, they can start thinking about the future, allowing residents to visit with each other and get back to a little feeling of normal.
Like in a few weeks, we're going to go to the movie theater, and they've our local theater has generously just donated us the space, so it'll just be us.
So the state told me tonight that the pharmacies have completed 100% of first dose clinics at these facilities across the state, 71% of second dose clinics. Kaiser Health News reported that over 90 facilities have dropped out of the federal program here in Colorado. We tried to verify that number with the state tonight, Kyle. We were redirected to the federal government. So you imagine this all kind of works like the vaccine hotline. You're going to be on hold for information for quite a while.
Oh, I hope not, because you and I don't have that kind of time tonight. But as to this approach, one of the things you'll hear said about West Virginia's effort is that this works better with rural populations that are largely homogeneous, better community connections. You can't always transpose it to an urban area, but it would appear, at least from the success that they've seen, that giving people the option to go in this direction found success.
Yeah, and especially on the Eastern Plains, there's one health department there that decided to do it this way. They got to the point, they're quoted in the Kaiser Health News article saying, we saw that the closest Walgreens to us was about 2 hours away. We don't even know where the CVS was, so we thought that this was the more efficient way to get this done. They know their communities. They're able to get the doses out to the populations. The interesting thing, through talking to the Routt County's director, she said, these are just things that we're going to learn in case we have to do this all over again. Maybe this is a lesson learned, that the best way to do this is to rely on the local public health departments in some areas to get this done.
There's a new phase starting Monday. Maybe lessons learned. Steve, thank you. 8% of Colorado's population is now vaccinated. 472,655 people. That's the section of the pie in green. Bit more than 140,000 of our neighbors, the section in light blue, have both doses. The rest of us are just blue. At 7 p.m. tonight, join me for a live town hall featuring your vaccine questions and Governor Jared Polis. We've heard from those of you who are frustrated, discouraged, who want straight talk over big promises. That is the Vaccine Facts Town Hall, available statewide, airing live tonight on 9 News at 7. Denver's charging a fee to small businesses that apply for relaxed COVID-19 restrictions. Sounds awful harsh considering what's going on for businesses, till you learn that the fee is designed to ward off outsiders trying to get in on local emergency relief money.
And what we found was without that small fee, we are the city and county of Denver, and most of the applications are coming from outside of the city and even outside of the state.
Denver has been conditionally approved for the state's 5-star program. That's the deal to allow businesses to add capacity if they meet certain markers. Has not started in Denver because our COVID case counts are still too high. And the state's about to change up the dial system that governs all of this. You can rest assured we will discuss that and try to get businesses some direct answers on tonight's town hall at 7 o'clock. Our hospitalization numbers keep dropping from record highs. 529 patients at last check. That is down 27 from the day before, down 133 patients from this time last week. Positivity rate yesterday was 5.8%. Our 7-day average for tests coming back positive is below that 5% threshold. That's where you want it to be, where public health experts say the spread is considered under control. It's at 4.8%. The Rockies say they're not rebuilding, which is technically true. You are not yet rebuilding if the wrecking ball is still swinging. The rebuilding phase hasn't started yet. Rockies owner Dick Monfort and general manager Jeff Bridich made that claim about rebuilding when they faced public questions for the first time since they paid the St. Louis Cardinals to take Nolan Arenado. The best third baseman in the league, gone like that. I'll leave it to the sports writers to say if it was one of the worst trades in baseball history or perhaps the worst. You know it's certainly up there on the list when the team's owner gets asked if he considered firing the general manager for it or firing himself.
No, I have not thought about firing Jeff. I have thought about firing myself, but I have not thought about firing Jeff.
Rockies owner Dick Monfort came as close to what we've seen for radical honesty in his press conference today, because he straight up admitted that the Rockies will not be pursuing big-name stars who are on the market. Now, he blamed us being a mid-market franchise, financial constraints and such. Yeah, come on, you know, the Rockies spend money. Not top-tier money, but the Rockies spend money. They just spend it on player after player who doesn't work out. If the Rockies aren't going to win the World Series, they might as well win the Radical Honesty Prize. So I say, just come right out and tell fans, hey, we have one of the best ballparks in America to watch a game. And it is clear that Rockies fans will keep coming out even when the product on the field is mediocre, with no reasonable expectation that it'll improve soon. You'll keep packing the party deck to watch a team that will occasionally, through luck and skill, make the postseason. And as long as you keep coming while they keep losing, it makes zero financial sense to change the way the Rockies operate. Because each ticket sold is a vote. It's a vote for the status quo. That was my take on the Rockies situation. Let's see how other fans are taking the news.
Hayes, why are you so upset?
Don't worry. The kids are all right.
We will always be fans. We will be at the first game forever.
A political newcomer gets all kinds of attention for saying he'll take on Colorado's attention magnet in Congress.
I did not know I was sending out a viral tweet. I truly thought I was tweeting out to some of my friends.
This was so weird, some political power players thought this guy was make-believe. He's not. We talked to him. Next. 2 teenagers accused of setting that house fire in Denver that killed 5 people are going to be tried as adults. Now, that does not necessarily mean that they will do time like adults if they're convicted. 16-year-old Gavin Seymour and Kevin Bowie face charges including murder, and prosecutors plan to ask for the third suspect, the 15-year-old's case, to be moved to adult court as well. They're all accused of setting a fire overnight, August 5th, at a home on North Truckee Street in Green Valley Ranch. It's a family that had come to our community from Senegal. 5 of them killed that night. 29-year-old Jabril Joel and 23-year-old Adja Joel. Their 2-year-old daughter, Kajia. Jabril's 25-year-old sister, Hassan, and her baby daughter, all gone. Adults convicted of first-degree murder in our state automatically get life without parole. Sentencing is different for younger people who are tried as an adult. If convicted, they'll be eligible for parole after 40 years or earlier, depending on the circumstances of what happens in the Department of Corrections. All right, Rockies fans, what do you say? Time for some contemplating. Question: do you owe continued allegiance to a team that does not appear to have winning baseball games as one of its top priorities? This is for everybody now. Young, old, in between, everybody gets to think this over.
Yeah, it's a dark time to be a Rockies fan, and I want to show the brightness of the Rockies community. I mean, I've been going to Rockies games as long as I've been alive. I just want to set up like a satirical little shrine for the competitive Rockies of the past few years. I think there should be an outlet, like a public outlet for people's kind of frustration that they feel.
I think anger was my first reaction, but very sad. Nolan, he's been Hazel's favorite player forever, right, Hayes? Yep. Yeah. Okay, do you want to show? Yes. There's your Nolan Arenado card. She's wearing her Nolan Arenado shirt. So we had a Rockies hat at the hospital whenever she was born. So, and that's come from my parents. I mean, my parents don't miss a game and try and go to a lot. And Hazel, like she said, she wanted to have her birthday party there. So we had a Rockies. We went to the game for her birthday. When you're 4. Yeah, we couldn't go last year. She probably would have had it last year, but...
This community is multi-generational, and, I think this younger generation is having that first moment of really experiencing the down cycle of being a devoted sports fan.
We were holding out as long as we could to break the news to her, but, yeah, we told her that he was being traded, and...
On TV. Why are you crying?
I think she thinks she'll never get to see him again.
Who?
It molds our generational community through these events. It's a dark moment for the Rockies, but it's a moment that has brought the community together.
We will always be fans. We will be at the first game forever. We will be fans.
The happy days will be here again, and our community will be stronger for having gone through this.
Go Rockies!
Love that from Hazel. Forever. Rockies fans on the state of the franchise through a lens of our photojournalist, Foster Gaines. So the sweeping congressional district that covers western and southern Colorado is now the talk of political Twitter every day. This caused some real weirdness lately when a mystery man popped up and said he was running for Congress in our state. We'll talk to him next. Colorado's newest Congresswoman, Republican Lauren Boebert, has quite the knack for getting nationwide attention for saying all manner of offensive and provocative things. That's also created an atmosphere where people saying they want to run against her in Colorado's 3rd Congressional District can whip up a frenzy of its own. Like when an unknown Greg Smith said he was entering the race. Instantly viral online. Except the Colorado Democratic Party doesn't seem to know who this guy is. Or the Democratic Party in Custer County where he lives. Politics guy Marshall Zelinger found the mystery man, though.
Greg Smith is real, but is he spectacular? Twitter seemed to think so. His tweet announcing his candidacy for Congressional District 3 against Republican Congresswoman Lauren Boebert has more than 150,000 likes and 43,000 retweets, including actors Mark Ruffalo and Edward Norton, sharing his announcement with their combined 9 million followers.
Marshall, I did not know I sent out a viral tweet. I truly thought I was tweeting out to some of my friends.
After 2 days of searching, I found Greg Smith, the man who on January 28th was still registered unaffiliated, changed to a Democrat on January 29th, and filed to run for Congress on January 30th, the same day as his viral tweet.
I've tested the waters. What did that mean, I've tested the waters?
It was basically I got the okay from my family.
This story is less a candidate profile and more, how did a relative unknown become so well known, just not with constituents?
It was really odd to me that, first of all, it's somebody who's running for Congress in Democratic politics that I've never heard of. And then the weirder thing is absolutely none of my West Slope friends have heard of him either.
Bree Buenteo is a former Democratic state representative from Pueblo in Congressional District 3. She spent time on Twitter this weekend questioning if Smith was real or if we were getting catfished, duped by a fake.
I mean, I guess I've got that much reporter in me. I want to know that whoever does eventually run is somebody who has a background and knows what they're doing. Somebody with deep ties to the community, not somebody who just moved here.
Smith just moved to Westcliff in Congressional District 3 in July. Since 2008, he lived part-time at a ranch near the Summit-Grand County line in Congressional District 2. And the unaffiliated voter turned Democrat says he was a Republican from 1980 until Donald Trump announced he was running for president.
I first voted Democrat for the first time in my life in 2016.
Smith's new Democratic identity got so popular on Twitter, it outpaced his planning. His campaign website says it's a guest area that requires a password.
Yeah, it's not up yet, so I'm surprised you're even getting that. This thing took off like a fireball, and we're still catching up a little bit.
There is one other candidate who has filed paperwork to run for that congressional seat. Colin Wilhelm is a Democrat in Glenwood Springs. Yesterday we talked about redrawing and redistricting because of census data and a delay in that census data, not knowing where the lines are going to be. And if it's possible that Westcliff, where Greg Smith lives, might not be in Congressional District 3 once all the lines are drawn. And as you said yesterday, Kyle, you don't have to live in the district to run for Congress. You just have to live in the state that you want to represent. Smith tells me he won't run for that seat if Westcliff is in a different district and not District 3.
Marshall, come on, though. This is Twitter. Like, Twitter is an open can of gasoline searching for a match every day. Like, it doesn't matter what it is. It just wants to combust over something, and it combusted over unknown Greg Smith.
He got lucky by having his tweet seen, whereas a Colin Wilhelm, if he would have said Lauren Boebert in a tweet, maybe the actors or someone would have seen it. He says he doesn't know these actors, but he knows friends who knows the actors. So maybe it was some sort of friendship. Hey, look at my buddy. Retweet him now.
It's wild. The race has already started out there. All right, Marshall, thank you. First fan in Folsom Field for the upcoming football season is an odd one. Plus your feedback next. The most Colorado thing we saw today is interspecies fandom at Folsom Field. Our photojournalist Chris Hansen was up at CU last week when he spotted this fan that snuck inside the stadium. Trotted up into the covered seat area, proceeded to do some Fox stuff, a lot of grooming mostly. If you see something that just says Colorado to you, share it. Email next at 9news.com or get our attention on Twitter with the hashtag HeyNext. Alan writes in tonight about the Rockies to say Coors Field is the best bar in Denver. I don't disagree, Alan. He continues, Rockies fans are fair weather. I do disagree with you on that. I think Rockies fans have shown through their attendance that they are willing to be very patient with this team over the years. Perhaps a little too patient, which is why I don't think there's a great incentive for ownership to improve the product on the field. Sue writes in to say my daughter is a nurse up in Wyoming, and she said that scheduling these vaccinations is a lot more complex than we realize. I don't doubt that one bit, Sue. I think one big question we're going to have for the governor later tonight is whether there might be some better technological prowess brought to bear on the situation rather than putting it on people at home to scramble. Reminder to join me back here 7 o'clock tonight. I'll take your questions about Colorado's vaccine distribution directly to Governor Polis and his public health team. This is going to be your chance to get answers, including to questions that just kind of pop up to you during the town hall. You're going to be able to text them into me. I'll see them. I'll be able to ask the team. At 7 o'clock, vaccine question, town hall. This is important. I'm even going to put on a tie, all right? See you then.